In today's Mystery of Black History, we highlight Assata Shakur. Quick question. If the state and federal government were after you, do you think you survive? With federal prosecutions winning over 90% of their cases, it's safe to say that the majority of us would be cooked if they ever set their sights on us. Yet, there was one woman who, despite countless attacks from both the state and the feds, was acquitted 3 times over and had another 3 cases dismissed in court. With both legal assaults and physical assaults aimed her way, she fled to Cuba to become one of the more mythical figures in Black history. Assata, an autobiography, walks you through the most beautiful yet tragic existence of Joanne Deborah Byron, commonly known as Assata Shakur. The story starts in chaos. Assata, as if she were in a dream or a nightmare, is in a car accident. She sees her fellow passenger Zaid is dead, and there are several police around her questioning and cursing her. She's taken to a hospital where she's tortured by both the state police and hospital staff, but finally has some relief when her mother and auntie are able to visit her. Why the torture, you ask? Well, a state trooper was killed at a turnpike in New Jersey, and though the details are ambiguous, law enforcement was looking to pin the murder on Assata. The book's flow is rhythmic and reads as a flashback narrative, with every other chapter speaking to Assata's current bouts with the government, while the following chapters walk you through her childhood and her adolescent years. Born in Queens, New York, Assata moves to North Carolina with her grandparents, who were instrumental in shaping her psyche at a young age. She would go back and forth from NC to NY, and this type of movement would serve as a catalyst for Assata's ability to assimilate. This will serve her well because in the early 70s, the entire legal system, from officer to courtroom to prison cell, would all conspire to lock up one of the most notable members of the Black Liberation Army and Black Panther Party. I'll double down on the word conspire because of one word: COINTELPRO. I'll speak about the terrorist group in the following reel, but in short, COINTELPRO was a branch of the FBI. Formed in 1956, it stands for Counterintelligence Program, and their main mission was to stop, apprehend, and/or kill the rise of Black leadership, or as J. Edgar Hoover said, a Black Messiah. COINTELPRO dissolved in 1971 after being discovered, which is funny because if you think the American government polices itself, be it federal, state, or local, I'm sorry, you're a fucking idiot. But back to the beautiful Assata Shakur. As we go throughout the chapters, Assata speaks to her conditions in and out of prison as the government couldn't seem to get any trumped up charge to stick. When speaking to a court martial, she simply states everyone in jail isn't a criminal, and they've got a lot of criminals locking people up. They've got a gang of criminals in the White House. We literally have a man convicted of 34 felonies in the White House, but Kamala was corrupt, right? Anywho, throughout the book, Assata speaks on so many socio-political issues that plague our community. The for-profit prison system, the underfunded and inadequate schools throughout the Black neighborhoods, even the dynamic between the Black man and the Black woman. She states, the more I watched how boys and girls behave, the more I read and the more I thought about it, the more convinced I became that this behavior could be traced directly back to the plantation, when slaves were encouraged to take the misery of their lives out on each other instead of the master. The slave master taught us that we were ugly, less than human, unintelligent, and many of us believed it. Black people became breeding animals, studs and mares. A Black woman was fair game for anyone at the time, the master or a visiting guest or any regnet who desired her. The slave master would order her to have 6 with this stud, 7 with that stud for the purpose of increasing his stock. She was considered less than a woman. She was a cross between a whore and a workhorse. Black men internalized the white man's opinion of Black women, and if you ask me, a lot of us still act like we're back on the plantation with Massa pulling the strings. At the end of most chapters, Assata wrote poetry that expressed her inner thoughts and her outlook on society. This added a beautiful element to an otherwise ruthless story. She speaks of a lover in jail with whom she conceived a child. Yes, at times Assata was locked in a men's facility. But the beautiful tragedy continues. The system was trying to put her under so much stress, trying to make her lose her child. Yet her young daughter was born, and officials separated them immediately. The abuse came via the media as well. From news channels to newspapers, the attack on Assata's character was state-sanctioned. Her response? Only a fool lets somebody else tell him who his enemy is. Always decide who your enemies are for yourself, and never let your enemies choose your enemies for you. Everything is a lie in America, and the thing that keeps it going is that so many people believe the lie. I mean, this woman was dropping so many gems left and right in this book. Another one. I sat next to a pregnant woman who was doing 90 days for taking a box of Pampers and watched on TV the pardoning of a president who had stolen millions of dollars and who had been responsible for the deaths of thousands of human beings. While politicians take free trips around the world, these same politicians cut back food stamps for the poor. I don't understand a government so willing to spend millions of dollars on arms to explore outer space, even the planet Jupiter, and at the same time close down daycare centers and fire stations. As I said in the beginning of the video, the government botched 6 separate trials against Assata because God is a just God. Yet, even amid all these blunders, they kept her locked up. It wasn't until a prophecy or a dream from Assata's grandmother that encouraged her to escape imprisonment. In the final chapter, she speaks to her time in Cuba and being reunited with her mother, her daughter, and her aunt. How did she escape? Read the book. But seriously, Assata, an autobiography, is the book that needs to be in your personal library if you care anything about free thought. A story about a Black woman standing toe-to-toe with the American government and coming out victorious. Like if you enjoyed this segment, share if it could benefit others, subscribe for more book-related content. Till then, stay in the book and stay out the way.